Welcome to Fashion Revolution, a support group for indie fashion designers that care about the earth. If you are planning a no-sew upcycled clothing project with fabric paint, dye, ink, lino printing, then this conversation will give you lots of inspiration, some great pointers on resources, and ideas on what to try. Enjoy.
You see all the fish and stuff. I painted it. With this, I use 3D fabric paint, but for some reason, it's really stiff. Some of it. For the fish, I use some white color and then I paint over it because the orangey color on the blue was giving me a weird color, but the green was really good on it.
That's a smart idea. It's like primering it, you know.
Yeah. Oh, when I prime it, now I lost where the eyes are. So I had to put it again and redo my form. But it was really good. If you have it like a see-through thing, you can draw and then put scotch tape and papers, and you can just put a carton and put your fabric, the picture of it on the bottom, and you put your fabric on top, and you don't have to trace anything.
So, I don't know. Do I just go and get some Crayola paints that my daughter has, or does it matter what you use? I'd imagine that some things are better than others.
When I first started painting fabric, I was using spray paint, which works just fine. And then I learned that I could use acrylic paint in an airbrush and that I wouldn't have any of the toxic fumes and the waste associated with the spray paints. The acrylics and the spray paint add a little bit, almost any paint, even the ones that are fabric paints, add a little thickness to your fabric. So it's going to change the structure of, if you have a really lightweight fabric and you use paint instead of ink, it's going to change the structure of it a little bit.
Since I like tailored stuff, that denim being painted is actually going to make it stiffer. So we'll see.
What are you going to paint your denim with?
What I have here is jacquard textile color. It is like almost a straight up pigment.
I have that very same brand of paint I just bought last year that I've been needing to bust out. And I was like, I need to use this paint.
So it's permanent, washable, dry cleanable, non-fading, light fast, but it's very, very, very colored. You can also do acrylic, but what I would recommend with that, especially if you're going to paint it or stamp it, is to use a fabric medium so that it will grip better to the fabric and hold fast. So it makes the paint more flexible and washable. And so it will adhere, but it won't be so stiff like you're talking about. It's kind of looser. When you're looking at painting something like leather, you get leather paint, it's straight pigment, right? Just like this textile paint, it's very, very, very pigmented. A little goes a long way. So you got to be careful with it. But if you can use regular acrylic and stretch it, then the acrylic, I feel like it's less pigmented, especially like the normal brands they sell at the craft store. And so it's not going to be as hard to work with.
I want Elena to talk a little bit about stamping and how to make your own stamps, because I feel like that's the approach that I want to take on this one, and I don't remember what she told us months ago.
I picked this up at Recreate, so it was one of the recycled art supplies places.
Oh, Recreate's a great resource. They actually have a branch here in Colorado too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so I spent like $2 on these. So
are those carving tools?
Yes, so you carve into it. So I started with the really soft, and this is one I did. And I was just playing around to see what would happen with like different types of cuts. But as you can see, this one like is really soft, and it also did this. But then they have the next ones. Can you see that? This one's a little bit softer. The next size.
If we're corrupt and we're going to order it on Amazon, what is it we should put in our search term?
I think you put in LINO, you know.
But how do I know to get the one that's not too soft? That's what I'm trying to find out.
Well, the reason why I got the soft ones is they're your, practice, like when you're starting. And so then I was like, okay, here's the actual one where it looks like you're flooring, right? See how it has the stuff on the back, and it's not flexible in the same way. You can also get it with wood on the back, which allows you to hold it and stamp it. I'm not doing that yet because I'm still playing around figuring it out. I don't know, between $1 to $4 each. You can get a block of them for less than that on Amazon. And then I used my ink. That time I used acrylic, because of what I was doing that was on paper. I have a bunch of textile dyes I'd like to try too, but this little roller like helps you get it on what, so you don't have a whole bunch of paint clumped on, I mean like clumped on there. You know, can you see it? Because it's like, this is hard. And so it just rubs enough on it so that the paint's on the base of the stamp that you cut, whatever design you want. And then, yeah, and then you basically print that places. And, yeah.
One thing I remember from when I made my coveralls and I did a bunch of, I used a commercial stamp on that, is that it's really worth it to do a couple tests before you do it on the fabric you're going to use. So
yeah,
that's my only
I agree.
tiny bit of advice on that, because the first couple were like total blobs for me. And you don't want to ruin something that you've disassembled or cut into a pattern piece, or, you know.
These aren't super strong. This can come off. Well, it doesn't on this one, but do you see the little metal thing up there? I had one where it kind of popped off. So with this, that's fine. But if I was doing wood, that'd be a real pain in the butt. So I think I'd get stronger ones. I think you can get these for about $10. See how they have different styles, so you can cut different types.
So it's lino print carving tools. So it's not
Yeah,
a brand.
and one thing I wish this had, there's a really skinny like cylinder, almost like it's just a poker, and you can get in there and like get more specific, like the actual lines, because this is kind of messy, you know, and I didn't have anything really thin to go clean it up, you know, so I would have liked that.
What I think I'm going to actually do is I have access to a laser cutter. I think I'm going to just laser cut mine.
Can it cut just a part of it, not all the way through? Like, do you tell it how to cut it?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Laser
cool.
cutters are extremely
That's
precise.
cool.
Yeah.
So I actually have this blue dye, but I'm terrified to use it because I don't know anything about it. So I'm just being honest.
When I follow all the directions, I have better results than when I experiment, but I always experiment because I can't resist it. But pre-treating, if you're using RIT dye, they have, what do you call?
A mordant.
Yeah, but RIT dye has a whitener fabric.
Oh,
you know?
so sorry, I'm thinking like natural dyes. Like,
yeah, natural
like
dyes.
This is naturally, this is like, it's done with turmeric, which is typically called a stain, but it's lasted a few years because I used it a mordant to keep it stronger.
Yeah, so pre-treating your fabric, if you're doing natural dyes, a mordant, and Elena had a great little article she could put in our Facebook group about natural dyeing and soda ash, and what else did I get? There were two things I got to pre-treat and to wash.
A detergent, and it's best to have a pH neutral if you can.
Okay.
There's just a little bit, and you can make your own soda ash out of baking
soda. So if you
soda.
do that before you dye it, you're just going to get your dye is going to adhere better, and your fabric's going to be more evenly colored, because the dirt and stains, most of them will come out in the process of cleaning it and mordanting. Is that a word?
Check Webster.
Probably.
It is now.
Okay, so Elena, do you have that link to that article?
Yeah, I can find it.
Okay,
Just a second.
Yeah, that's a good one to share. So if anybody's dyeing, I personally want to try and dye denim over this.
I feel like, I don't know if you guys know about botanical colors, so I'm all about the natural stuff, but it's a really good account to follow. They sell a lot of botanical colors.
Botanical colors. So that's the one out of Oregon or Seattle?
Seattle, I think.
Okay, I think botanical colors. I think that's where Ellen wanted to do an internship last year.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
So when I do dye my hair, I usually use henna. Do you know if that works well on fabric at all? Have you guys tried that? I'm just
henna is going to have the same problem that a lot of natural dyes have, which is just over time it comes out, right?
Yeah,
that's why you have to keep dyeing your hair, right? So you don't want your clothes to have that, but any natural fiber is going to respond similarly to henna that your hair would. This is a natural fiber.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, wool is
when
basically.
I was studying textile design, I did a project, Adore dyeing, which is based in Africa, where they use a plant and they break down the plant into its natural dye. It makes a bluish indigo. It's like an indigo.
See, this is really good. This is really good. I feel like since I have all these different colored denim shorts over here, since they're all like a different color, if I put them all in the same dye, obviously they're gonna be like a different people of the same color. So I'm kind of curious to see what that would turn out.
Once you dye something, it's until the end of whatever amount you're dyeing is the same color. But if you want to buy another one, sometimes it varies a little bit. So I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. The colors are not always the same when you dye something. You go to the store and you buy, sometimes there's a little smidge of a difference between one black and another black. So whenever you want to buy or get or dye ones, that just dye the whole amount and a little extra that you're having, because then it's not going to turn out to be the same. Next time they say, oh, I'm going to dye the same to match the outfit. It won't work.
So I just dropped in like the chat the name Dharma Trading, which is another good place to purchase dyes, especially if you don't want like natural ones, but low impact ones instead. That'll hold a little and last a little longer as well.
I, a long time ago, was part of the Society of Creative Anachronisms, mostly to learn historical costuming and sewing techniques. And there's tons of people in there that do natural dyes, historically natural dye, like historically accurate dyes, and silk screening and silk painting. So if you search, and I'll put it in the chat, if you search Society of Creative Anachronisms and kind of like go down that rabbit hole, you'll find people that have researched more than you could possibly.
I thought it was simpler than that.
One thing I've done before to add some embellishment is using like a fabric ink with like a rubber stamp and kind of creating a pattern with that. And you can add some embroidery.
Do they come in all different colors like dyes do? And I mean, do they set like a dye? Tell me about fabric inks. I've never heard of them.
So I used it on a pair of my husband's shorts that got like grease stains on them, but I have this jacquard that I got from the art store. I think they had a fair amount of different colors. This one was navy. I just used a rubber stamp and it sets with heat, kind of like other inks, like fabric inks. Like I use like the Micron pens a lot for some embellishments too, and they're water safe. But you just have to heat set them for like 20 seconds with a hot iron before you.
And they don't have the crunchiness that you get from paint, right?
Correct. Yeah, you don't get that like cracking or anything like that. So it stains the fabric basically.
I love that idea. And I love the idea of using a rubber stamp or even making my own like potato stamp or something.
For sure. Yeah. Like I think I asked, like my neighborhood has like a rubber stamp round robin, and I just got that bag of rubber stamps and went through it and just used the one that I liked. And
I like that idea. And somebody in my neighborhood bag just gave me a tube of fabric paint. So I need to figure out where that is and play around with it.
Thanks for joining us. If you found the conversation interesting, you might also enjoy seeing what we actually made in our paint, dye, ink upcycle challenge. So I'm putting a link in the notes below. And if you want to be part of this conversation, we'd love to have you. Please drop a comment or DM us so that we can find you.